Welcome to the Valhalla Filmcast, a show where normal guys talk about the films that they love. And here are your hosts, Bryce Thompson, Brian Hammond, and Cody Ryrie. Now get ready, because the show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Valhalla Filmcast. I am Bryce Thompson. I am here with Cody Ryrie and Brian Hammond.
For the time being, yes.
Hello.
So today, Cody's comment. It's been rough. It's been a rough go at it at the Valhalla Filmcast, trying to get this show recorded. Here's take 20 something.
We're into David Fincher number of takes here. This is like...
Yes, we are. But continuing on, we want to talk about the films of 2016, what we liked, what we didn't, what we thought was okay. Cody is going to be the director.
I prefer MC. How about that?
MC, film guide, whatever you want to call him. He's going to be the one that's taking us on this journey. So yeah, I'll let him take it away.
Captaining the ship. Rowing the gondola. I like that one. I'm rowing the gondola. I just came up with that. All right. I need to lay off the cough syrup. Here we go. All right. So we grouped these movies into categories, into genres, and some of them are normal genres like sci-fi, horror, and some of them are kind of fun genres that will come up as we go along. We'll talk about some of the movies we didn't like, some of the movies that we thought were okay, and our favorites. Diving right in, we're going to do the big blockbusters of the year. We don't have to dwell on it too long, but my absolute least favorites, and for its own reasons, it might be a tie between Jason Bourne and Suicide Squad. They were both huge disappointments, and they were both terrible for their own separate reasons. Any comments on that before we go on?
Of course. Suicide Squad is literally like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Now, it could be the worst movie I've ever seen because I was so jacked about it. I mean, how can you screw this movie up? Like, literally, how can you screw this movie up? And they did.
Yeah.
They did. And I have heard all the arguments, but none of them have been good. Just like when people gave arguments that Mad Max was a horrible movie, it was like, because it's dumb. The ones that I've heard that made Suicide Squad was a good movie was because it was good. No, stop. Rewatch it and learn from your mistakes because it's horrible. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. There we go. We're done. No more. It's over. It's out of our system.
Rant over for now.
I did want to thank you two for saving my $15 of admission to see that. Thanks for giving me the heads up.
You never know. You could have loved it. It could have been your favorite movie of the year.
I'm sure I will watch it at some point because I'm a sucker.
You have kids. You'll watch it. Oh, gosh. All right, so moving on to the ones, and this is just my opinion, but ones that were honorable mentions for the year. Rogue One goes in that category. I would put it in the very good category, not great category. We went over that with the podcast with Bryce and I, but I did want to hear, Brian, you didn't get a chance to talk about it yet, what your thoughts are on Rogue One, just briefly. Do you put it in that same honorable mention category? Was it better, worse for you? What?
It was definitely better. I'm the opposite of you guys. I really liked it. It has its problems, I admit, but I enjoyed it. It's probably my third favorite Star Wars film, and
really?
Narrowly beats out Force Awakens. Yeah.
Wow.
So, sorry.
See, I don't...
Better than Force Awakens. Is there a way to hang up on Brian in this call? Is that... Can we do that?
You did that already last time, remember?
See, now, you make it sound like we hate this movie. I do not hate Rogue One.
Don't hate it.
No. Just like Episode 7 so much more. Like a ton more. And... I mean, Rogue One's a good movie. Like, I enjoyed watching it. I was disappointed that everyone died, but, again, Makes sense. Why?
Oh, spoilers!
Sorry, spoiler.
You just ruined it for some poor sap out there. Well,
Oh
all
my
right. When a movie's
goodness.
past $400 million at the box office, then we're probably safe in most.
I'll edit that out.
Categories.
I'll edit that out.
There'll be a bleep.
Right? And then they'll be like,
Wow.
"Whoa."
Okay. Well,
Anyways, moving on.
I mean, nobody cares about this really, but Brian brought it up, so I get to say it too. For me, if you put the Star Wars movies in order, because I do this about 8 times a day, and the ones that I like versus, don't like, my least favorite is Episode 2. I think Attack of the Clones is the most boring, worst Star Wars movie ever, and it's the romance stuff that really doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Then Phantom Menace. Then, this is going to get me in trouble. I knew okay. Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, then Rogue One would be after that, which I like it. They're all good from here on out. Then would be Return of the Jedi. Then would be Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, I put a prequel above Rogue One and an original movie. Then Force Awakens, then Empire Strikes Back, then Star Wars. We'll do a show on it one day, I'm sure. But that's just, start your own
I'll
controversy.
save my order for that, I guess. And I'm sure it'll change, And granted, I am not the Star Wars fanatic. Do I see every single episode that comes out? Absolutely. Do I see it in the theater? Absolutely. Do I own every? Yeah, I do. But I'm not like the geek about it, It's not like my world.
You're not Cody.
And so I'm not Cody. And there's people worse than Cody, or better, depending on how you look at it, I guess. But they have the Star Wars disease. And,
and this is how bad I have it. You want to know? Back at work in my shop, I have Rogue One posters up right now. Like,
why?
It's my 5th favorite Star Wars, and I got posters. Because it's Star Wars and it's new, and I have to. It's like doing the catechism or whatever. I don't know. It's just part of the religion. We do it. So,
in 100% honesty, it goes back and forth between 3rd and 4th for me, beating out Force Awakens, and so it is very close. And depending on the day and when I revisit it, it could be a totally different experience too. So my top 3: Star Wars first, then Empire Strikes Back, then Rogue One, Force Awakens, in that cloud right there underneath those top 2. So
see, very similar to mine, except for Rogue One lives in outer darkness in mine. But yes. All right, on to it. Now, the ones that I really loved this year, I'll be alone because you all have exercised yourself from the main culture and the things that we all talk about. But, well, actually, you know what? Before we get to that, another one we could do was Deadpool, which I didn't see, but you two did. Correct? So,
I would...
Yes.
Thoughts on, where would Deadpool go on this list?
My children, if you're listening, I did not watch it. I'm pretending just for theatrics here. So, I did not watch it. So, everything I say, take with a grain of salt.
Yes. All right. That being said, where does that fit on this? Is it good?
I would bump
Is it
it up.
great?
I
Is it
really
bad?
liked it a lot.
Yeah, I loved it.
One thing, Brian.
Hypothetically, I loved it.
I do have a question for you. So, the version that me and my wife watched, I didn't really think it was like super horribly bad. And then she was like telling me about some stuff that like Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds' wife, was saying is in the movie. And I'm like, that was not in this movie that I watched. So did you ever like notice anything that was like really like horribly bad?
Yeah,
Like
but I don't remember.
Like, let me just, I don't want to like just say what it is, but there was like a scene where there was like eating stuff where you're not supposed to put and eat stuff.
Wow, that sounds really bad. I don't even know what you're talking about, but it sounds terrible.
I don't think
I did too. Okay, I don't think I did either, and I didn't think that was in the movie. So
I'm not sure. I watched it late at night. I laughed because it was late at night, but to be honest, I don't remember specific jokes.
And I don't remember it being like, I mean, yeah, I guess there was bad stuff. Maybe shows you like how jaded my brain is, but I didn't think it was like horrible. I would never let my children watch it, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, the reason why it's worse than it is because it has such a drawn appeal to children.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like the Sausage Party. They had to plaster R on that so that grandparents wouldn't buy it or rent it for their kids and be horrified, and so it does appeal to that younger audience, and so it is shocking to teenagers and preteens.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a rated R movie, and for sure. So
I really liked Deadpool. I thought it was really good, and I'd put it up there.
Yeah, I thought it was clever, funny, witty, and the jokes were good.
Yep.
So,
well, the other X-Men movie that came out this year, I loved it so much I forgot its name.
Apocalypse.
What was Apocalypse? Was very middle of the road for me. A lot of it didn't work. A lot of it dragged. Some of it did work. It's definitely in that middle of the road category. A big step down from Days of Future Past, which was a favorite of mine from a couple years ago. On to the ones that I did love, though, in the blockbuster category, and that was the two from Marvel, Captain America Civil War and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, just in case you all, decide to get with the rest of humanity, is a movie you can watch without having seen any other Marvel movies. It totally stands on its own.
That's cool. I like that.
So don't feel like you have to catch up to watch that one. Now, Civil War, you've got to be on, It's interesting. I think Marvel's smart because they make one movie that's like the culmination of everything from before, and then the next movie, The Chaser, is one that even anybody can watch. I respect that. I'm glad that we're trying this new thing, this shared universe, but at the same time we're going to try to include everybody with our other movies. So I thought that was a nice touch. If you're asking me which my favorite one out of those two was, it was Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange I thought was really, it was kind of poetic in a lot of ways and really original and new. The plot line was pretty repetitive, like from other stuff, but a lot of the other stuff was great. Benedict Cumberbatch was great. So that's one I recommend to Marvel, non-Marvel. I thought it was, and it doesn't even really feel like a comic book film. It's much more of like a mystical martial arts kind of a thing. So top marks. That was my favorite blockbuster this year, was Doctor Strange.
Now, one movie that we have left off so far, Cody has, is Ghostbusters. I would throw that as a blockbuster. I mean, it got lots of...
That's true.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. I might say that out of all the big blockbusters that we've talked about so far, Ghostbusters would have been my favorite. There's lots of movies, but blockbuster,
That's still taking a lot of heat. A lot of people are still down in that. And I guess I need to rewatch it because I really enjoyed it.
I wanted to see it.
And you guys did too, right?
Great movie.
Well, I saw it just through the circumstances of other people wanted to see it and this and that. I've probably seen it 5 or 6 times now.
Yeah.
Great. So
not
how's it
meaning
hold up?
to. I still liked it every time. I didn't like it the 6th time as much as I did like the first or second time. But
understandably so.
And it was all right in a row too. Like just somehow that happened. It was on and everybody was watching it and I was there. I think if I'd given it more time, I would still like it. I mean, I bought it on Black Friday, and so it's one that I definitely want to keep. And I agree with you all. It wasn't my favorite, but thumbs up.
I liked it. I mean, it's not my favorite movie of the year, really, but of the big movies, that's mine. I liked that movie a lot.
Okay, moving on to our next category. Comedy is the next category I wanted to bring up. The early one from the year, but I finally saw it and I really liked it, was Hail Caesar. That was one that I saw it. I've seen it twice now, and I liked it better the second time. There was a lot more that I caught. It's funny. I've been watching a lot of people's best and worst lists at the end of the year, and Hail Caesar has shown up on both. There was some people that put it on their worst list, and some put it on their best. So, a very divisive movie, I suppose you could say. Did you all see that one?
I did. I loved it, but I can totally see how some people wouldn't appreciate it. Being film lovers that we are, I think, we gravitate towards that world a little bit more. It was kind of behind the scenes and a throwback to the golden age of cinema, and so it was right up my alley. I loved it, but I can totally I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. So it's one of those films.
There was actually the guy who's going to be playing young Han Solo, Eldenreich. It's a very German name.
Oh, was he the
I don't know how
cowboy?
to say it. He's the cowboy in the
Oh,
film.
okay.
Yeah, and my favorite scene in the whole thing is when Ralph Fiennes, as the director, is trying to get him to say, "Would that it were so simple," in his cowboy accent.
I laughed
so funny.
hard. Oh man.
That, and I loved the discussion about the portrayal of Jesus by the rabbi. It was like the Baptist minister and the Catholic priest, and they're all having this discussion about how you portray him. It was so funny, and smart and interesting. So yeah, that was one of my favorites, not my favorite comedy of the year. Also wanted to bring up The Nice Guys, which I think we've all seen now.
Yes.
So, and Bryce, you saw it just recently. So, your thoughts on The Nice Guys? Would you agree with Brian and I that it was one of the best of the year?
Oh yeah, it's so good, and I think I really like what's his bucket, Ryan Gosling. For me, he makes the movie. Like if he's not in it, it's not nearly as good. The best part, and I laughed out loud when him and Russell Crowe first meet. And he's like, when you're at the doctor's, and you saw him, and he's like, no, and he just snaps his arm, and he just gives this girly scream. Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah, it's a really good movie.
Well, and I thought that The Nice Guys was great because not only was it really funny, but it also took its time to be serious and have some real drama in it too.
Yeah, definitely.
And the little girl, she's probably in her teens. She was great.
Yeah, the girl.
Yeah, a pretty threatening villain. I thought that John Boy was a pretty threatening villain too.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the 70s time frame. That's fantastic.
It's very good. One thing that I thought was interesting about the movie is that I heard they were going to make it into a TV series, and then it was just kind of going nowhere. So then they just rewrote it to be a movie, which I think is a good idea. I think it would make so much more sense as a movie than a TV series.
It would cost a lot to do a 70s TV show. I mean, I guess you could do that
Yeah.
now, but that'd be pricey.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, okay,
Ryan,
well, anyway,
Ryan Gosling continues to be my very heterosexual man crush. I mean, he can do no wrong in my book. Seriously, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Well, and he's headlining the Blade Runner sequel.
Yeah,
and with
I
him
can't
and
wait.
Denis Villeneuve
And you're
directing.
right.
I mean,
You turned me on to that the trailer, and oh man, I can't wait. It looks incredible.
anyway, Ryan Gosling. Yes, we love him. Other ones that I had one more less honorable mention before I got to my favorite comedy of the year, and that was Captain Fantastic. I don't know if you all
I
saw
didn't.
that
That's
one.
with Viggo Mortensen, though, right? Mortensen.
Yeah,
Whatever his name
I
is.
really liked it. Viggo Mortensen. Yes.
Yeah.
That one, we've been talking about how you can see these movies. Sorry, we were going to kind of help you out with that. Just to kind of go back, Captain America Civil War is now streaming on Netflix. You two really have no excuse. Anyway.
Never.
Wait, do we have
Never.
to see all of it, or can we watch it out of sequence? Are we cool with watching it out of sequence? Or?
So
No, not really.
let me just
All
a brief little statement on your. You have to see it. I don't even see movies that I want to see.
Yes, that is a perfect point, Bryce.
So I'm not
because
gonna make
I'm
time to
looking
see a
at
movie
my
that I
very
don't.
anemic list, thinking, yeah, that is at the very bottom. Seriously.
So,
Okay,
moving on.
fair
Moving
enough. Anyway, Rogue One still in theaters. Batman v Superman still at Redbox. Suicide Squad's at Redbox. But why would you
Don't.
do that?
Please
And
don't.
let's see. Hail Caesar, I just saw at Redbox as well. Still, you can get that. Nice Guys, also Captain Fantastic's where I got Redbox. Redbox owns all my money. They just get it now. So, anyway, that brings us up to where we were. Captain Fantastic's the story of a man who's raising this big family, and he raises them totally outside of society. In I think it's like around the Seattle wilderness or something like that. And it's kind of a comedy drama about that. It's a really interesting performance from him. A lot of thought provoking ideas. But also very funny. I don't want to make it sound too heavy. It's a funny movie, but
Now,
it has a
pardon
lot
me-
of interesting ideas.
Pardon me if this
Yeah.
is a spoiler, but I heard he wrestles naked. Is that true?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't wrestle naked. he walks out the front of his. They have to go back into society. Of course, you kind of get that something will take them into society, and that's when all the funny stuff happens. Yeah. When these kids who've never been in society, interact with society, and they're parked in this RV camp, and he's having his morning coffee, and he walks out totally naked, just in time to see this old couple walk by, and he's like, "What? It's a naked body. Everybody's got them." So
that sounds awesome,
and it shows everything. It is full.
Yeah. He loves showing his. It's not the first time, and it won't be the last, I'm sure.
So very funny, very thought-provoking. Especially if you're a parent, it really makes you think about, my gosh, because they interact with these kids who are like playing Xbox constantly and eating like horrible food, and you're like, oh no, I'm ruining my children. What am I doing? Yeah. So if you like your comedy with a side of guilt, I recommend Captain Fantastic. And that brings me to my favorite comedy of the year, and this one's streaming on Netflix, and it's an Irish movie called Sing Street.
Oh.
And
this is by the maker of Once, right?
Yeah, Once, yeah, which I haven't seen any other of his stuff. I think he's made 3 films now, and I had never seen one. This is my first one. It's the story of a teenager who, because it takes place in the 80s, and because Ireland's going through a really hard economic time, his parents put him in a rough school run by Jesuit priests, I think. And he sees this girl that he wants to impress, and he tells her he's in a band, even though he's not. And so as soon as she's like, well, yeah, I'll be a model in your music videos for your band. And he's like, okay, great. And he runs off to his friend, and he's like, we have to form a band. And so they form a band to impress this girl, and they kind of find out like what they want to do with their lives, and he has to deal with a bully. And it's just, by the end of it, I just felt like the world was a happy place, and everything was fantastic. And it was just at the end of it, you just feel great about everything. And it has a lot of hard stuff in it. It's not like it's an easy watch throughout the whole thing. It deals with some hard issues, but a lot of great relationships, wonderful performances, and just a really feel-good movie. It'd been recommended a lot by lots of people, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll watch it. And I was really surprised that I liked it as much as I did. So big recommendation.
I went out and watched or bought Once because I heard a lot about it, a lot of buzz, and so. Was this like Once? I had to watch that with subtitles on until I got used to the Irish.
Oh.
Was it like that at all?
I did watch it with subtitles on, now that I think about it. They're very Irish. Everybody in that movie is very Irish.
Yeah, that's how Once is. So until you get used to it, get your feet wet.
Yeah. Okay, any other comedies y'all wanted to bring up? Wait, y'all should name a favorite, too, out of the ones you saw. What was your favorites of the comedies that we saw this year?
See, because a lot of these categories kind of spill over each other.
Sure, yeah.
But I would have to say The Nice Guys, probably. That or Deadpool. But probably The Nice Guys, since I've already mentioned Deadpool.
Yeah, it's true. Deadpool actually kind of fits in the comedy almost probably better than it does, well, from what I've heard. The blockbuster one.
It's pretty funny.
So.
But Dead Guys for me.
Yeah, I was going to say my top 3 are Hell Caesar, Deadpool, and The Nice Guys, and I would definitely say that Nice Guys is a more accessible movie, fun watch, and but I loved Hell Caesar too, so that's a close second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also,
on to my first.
To mention a couple, Neighbors 2, Sorority, whatever. Mm-hmm. The reason I mentioned this is because I saw the first Neighbors. I liked the first Neighbors. I thought it was pretty funny. Neighbors
first
2
one was pretty funny.
It kind of fell short. It's not quite as good. They kind of try and pull off the same antics, but it's just not as funny without the main original frat guys in it. They're really funny. And then also Sausage Party. Not as big a fan as I thought I would be of Sausage Party. It's just a lot of
sausages,
talking food that is very vulgar, and so I don't know, just not as good as I thought it would be. And then also, I think this is going to be in another one of our categories, but just mention it here too. But War Dogs, I liked War Dogs too, but I would say it fits in other categories better. But yeah.
Okay, on to our first fun category, or I don't know what you'd call it. unorthodox category, and I call this one Ladies' Night. And this is movies that maybe are perhaps made to appeal to the female side of the demographic, but I really liked a couple of these. I've only got two, but I liked them both a lot. My, I guess, runner-up is a movie called Florence Foster Jenkins with Meryl Streep in it, and this was a kind of comedy drama, true story, about a lady who loves to support the arts and thinks she's an amazing opera singer, and everybody around her lies to her, and because she's very rich and very nice, and they want her to think she's an amazing opera singer until she does a public concert without their knowledge. And the great thing about this movie is Meryl Streep, she gets you to laugh at her at first. You think she's this kind of the butt of the joke and really funny, and then little by little the screenplay and her kind of reveal this human side, and it makes you, at the end, you're like, oh, I'm a jerk. So it was this real get you to laugh at her and then be like, ha, see, she's a real person and you're a jerk. So
that's too much message. That's too much PSA for me.
Anyway, it was really good. It still had a lot of comedy in it. The one that I liked even better, that was one of my favorites of the year, is a movie called Love and Friendship, which is made by Amazon, and it's an adaptation of a Jane Austen story, not called Love and Friendship. I don't know what it's called. But Kate Beckinsale is the main character in that, which is weird because, the girl from the Underworld movies is now the Jane Austen person. Anyway, she plays a villain, and the villain's kind of the main character, and it was really interesting because she's just a terrible person who's super self-absorbed but also very, very funny and very modern. And it's everybody in it was, I didn't know the rest of the people because they were all British, and I'm like, hey, British people, yay. But they were all very funny. And that one's definitely worth checking out. Those are both on Redbox as well. Anybody have any romance movies, ladies movies that you saw this year?
I was going to mention Hacksaw Ridge.
That's right.
Very romantic. Come on.
Maybe the first 30 minutes or so. I mean, that might squeeze
turn
in.
it off immediately, or you'll scar.
There you go.
Your
romance. That's funny.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's go on. I wanted to do science fiction next. There is some good science fiction this year. We're going to mix genres a little bit with this. Like Bryce, like you said, nothing fits perfectly. But the one that I wanted, not my favorite, but really good, and I need to see it again, was Midnight Special, which was a really good movie of Michael Shannon. And I thought it was going to be like a comic book superhero movie, and it's much more a sci-fi film. But kind of a low-budget sci-fi thing about a son who has these powers. He can hear radio waves and kind of predict the future, and when he opens his eyes, he can commune with people, and this cult is after them because they think he's like the second coming of the Messiah. And Michael Shannon is the father trying to get him away from this cult. And the father-son relationship is so good in the movie, and it's so well done. Really good. I liked it a lot. Bryce, you wanted to bring up Warcraft and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. That's probably the best sci-fi-ish movie that I've seen this year. The reason I wanted to mention it was because it's a video game movie that has done decently well. I mean, it didn't do super great, but considering video game movies, it has done well. Also, there's Assassin's Creed, which I have not seen yet. It hasn't been doing super well with the box office. Well, not with the box office, but with the reviews, what critics have been thinking. I'll eventually see it, but just mention Warcraft because video games and the.
So,
it was really
did
good.
You like Warcraft?
I did.
Mean, you liked it then?
Yes, I did.
Because I've heard mixed reviews about that.
The reason I liked it, and I can totally understand where people don't like it, but the reason I liked it was because I'd played the games, knew the backstory, and saw the characters come to life. I really thought that was interesting. I really thought that was cool. And I also really liked how the director, he took what the video game, like the gamers, what they want to see in a movie, and he put it in there. He didn't make a movie for, Joe Blow down the street. He made it for the people that play the game. And that's what I liked about it.
So do you think it's not very accessible to non-gamers? If you hadn't been raised in that world, like, would just the average person not like it?
I don't know. I think that you could. I think that if you came in and said, okay, this is just a movie about orcs and humans, it could be interesting, because it's not like you have to know a ton of backstory, because this is like, the story is based like right at the very beginning, like right when orcs and humans meet for the very first time.
That's why. Well, I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it to test that theory, because I know nothing about Warcraft whatsoever.
But also not just knowing that who kind of like the backstory, because they bring the video game to life, and that's what's so cool about it. And I think you could see it. It might not be as exciting for someone who hasn't played it, but I think if you came in not thinking that, okay, this is a video game movie, I know nothing about it, but you came in thinking, okay, this is a movie about orcs and humans, let's see where it goes, I think that could be interesting. But
okay. Yeah. Well, I'll say, if I get to watching that one, I'm going to try to. I think it would be fun to talk about again.
Yeah, definitely.
And kind of see what the layman's perspective as opposed to the clergy.
Yeah, I would like to.
I would like to
rewatch that movie as well, just because I saw it the one time, and then that was it. So it'd be interesting to watch it again as well.
Okay, so we're going to throw that within fantasy sci-fi category. My favorite sci-fi. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Brian.
go ahead, Cody. I thought you were moving on to the next topic, so go ahead.
No, I was going to do my favorite, and then we can do whatever else yours were. My favorite was Arrival. When I first saw it, I kind of was like at a distance to it, and it has like grown roots in my brain since then, and won't let me alone. I've been dying to see it again, but I've been trying to catch so many other movies I haven't had a chance yet. So just so many of the images stayed with me. The themes, Amy Adams' performance, I just can't get over it. And it's really, the more I think about it, the more I like it. So I really want to see it again. That's my big recommendation on Sci-Fi's Arrival. Brian, what did you have?
This is with some hesitation, because I know that will be my favorite. I have not got an opportunity to see that yet, but I know that is, because I love everything that director does. And so I know it's right up my alley, and from what I've heard about it. But this may appear on one of your later themes, but this is the only true sci-fi film that I saw, and it's not really a true sci-fi film. So 10 Cloverfield Lane, that is barely sci-fi, but that is literally the only sci-fi movie I saw all year from this year, 2016.
And it's absolutely fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah,
I thought it was great.
Loved it.
If there's any justice in the world, which there isn't, so this won't happen, John Goodman would be nominated for an Oscar for that movie. Did you know John Goodman, I don't think, has ever been nominated for an Oscar?
Really?
No. Wow.
Yeah, stuck on that for a while. That's
Man.
John Goodman, of all things. And he is so, I don't know what the word is. He just makes you tense whenever he's on screen in 10 Cloverfield Lane. You just don't know what he's going to do. And it could be something really nice and thoughtful. It could be something totally crazy. It could, and he really embodies that. He's fantastic. There was a couple other performances that I thought were, really, really good this year, but that was way up there. I thought that was fantastic. Yep. I feel like an idiot for not putting it on my list, so chastised appropriately, Brian. Okay, well, I think we've got like 4 or 5 more categories, so why don't we do one more and then we can cut this show in two, because getting a little long in the tooth, as they say in the South where I'm from. So this will be part 1, and then we'll do part 2. Executive decision, I took all power. All right, so the last category we do tonight, this is the thriller or crime category. So it's not horror films, there's not ghosts and stuff in this, but it's more of like 10 Cloverfield Lane could fit in this one. Yeah. Too, but it also fits in the sci-fi category. Some of the ones, this had some of the best movies this year, I thought, in this category. One I wanted to bring up, and another great performance, is Bloodfather. It's a movie from that Mel Gibson is in. He didn't direct it, and this one I got from Redbox again. But he plays this recovering alcoholic living in the worst trailer that's ever appeared in a movie in the middle of the desert. I mean, this thing it smells bad when you're watching it on home. It's at home. He's in rough shape, and Mel Gibson's kind of whole I'm a broken down alcoholic in real life really works as I'm a broken down alcoholic in a movie. And his daughter calls him, she's in trouble with Diego Luna, who played the Mexican guy in Star Wars in Rogue One. The first Mexican in space, as we like to call him. And he, I think that's true, by the way. I could not. I was just racking my brain.
Hasn't Michael Pena been in space?
Michael Pena has been in space. He is.
Yeah, but that wasn't really sci-fi. That was like NASA
but
stuff.
He's still in space. He's
in space. Okay,
but
he doesn't even have an accent. You got to have an accent to count as the first Mexican in space. So
that's true.
Anyway, he plays a horrible drug dealer in Bloodfather, and he's good. The daughter's good. The great thing about Bloodfather is it's this really good, like, kind of violent thriller, but Mel Gibson is so funny in it. Like, he has so many really comedic moments throughout the movie, as well as some serious ones. He's really back as a performer in this. This was a great year for him. Back as a director, and also when I saw Bloodfather, I was like, wow, man, he can still act like crazy. So, yeah, I really recommend that one. Bloodfather's great. On Netflix streaming, we have Hush, which was one of my favorite thrillers of the year. It's such a smart movie. It's about a lady who can't hear, can't talk, and she's out in a house in the woods by herself, and this crazy, nondescript serial killer comes, and it's this really big cat and mouse game between the two of them. Such a good movie. Did either of you see that movie? Did you see Hush?
Oh, yeah. I loved it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, no excuse. It's on streaming. You don't even have to pirate that one. You don't have to put your eye patch on or whatever to get that one, Bryce.
Whoa.
It's like, the FBI is listening. Stop it. And then that gets me to my favorite one of these movies this year, and one of my favorite movies, period, of this year is Green Room. Such an awesome movie. This was one of Anton Yelchin's last performances. Patrick Stewart plays the leader of a bunch of neo-Nazis. I'm done. That's all. I was just sold the movie. There you go. Patrick Stewart plays the leader of neo-Nazis. And he is so, again, that's another great performance. He is so threatening by sounding so reasonable. You know, he sounds so like, no, this is what we should do. This is, come on, you know. And there's so much menace behind what he does. A word of warning, though. This is, if you don't know what it's about a rock band that plays at a neo-Nazi bar. They witness a killing. This happens in the first, 5 minutes. And so they get stuck in this room with all the neo-Nazis outside who don't want to let them go. And it's this real, bare-knuckle blades, and it has some of the most sickening violence outside Hacksaw Ridge in any movie this year. There's one or two moments where just such real violence, such violence you don't really see in movies. Things with box cutters and stuff like that, and dogs chewing people up, Rottweilers and things. Anyway, it's fantastic.
Is this the movie where they break the fluorescent light? Yeah.
Yes.
Sick.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I remember in throwback to later episodes, we talked about this, and I got a lot of heat because I said that sometimes that's the coolest weapon I could think of in a film, and everyone jumped and was like, "Oh, you're crazy!"
Tube.
No, I just think of cool weapons in movies. Sorry.
Well, and this is like I said, this is all about they find what weapons they can around. One of them's a fluorescent tube, one's a box cutter, and people just chew each other up. And it's such a good movie. I can't recommend it enough. That's one of my. Gotta own that. Gotta watch it again. So suspenseful, and by the end, though, even when the suspense is over, I was like, yeah, but I got to go through that again. That was awesome. So, yeah, it was, I don't know, some sick part of me really loved that movie. So, yeah, Green Room, it's on Redbox. One of the best performances of the year by Patrick Stewart in that movie. Did y'all have other thrillers you wanted to bring up before we ended the show?
Yeah, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Don't Breathe. Have you seen that, Cody?
Oh. No, I still haven't seen that one.
Yeah, that's a really good one. It turns very horrific at the very end. My wife literally gagged, and I think she hit me, slapped me, something like that. Which I haven't had that response from her since Saving Private Ryan. So It's been a while. But, yeah, that one is an excellent siege movie. No, it's not a home siege movie. It's a reverse home siege movie. But anyways, they break into this blind guy's apartment, and
this is
hilarity
the movie.
ensues.
This is the movie that we thought
Hilarity.
was Lights Out. We thought that this was...
Yes. There was big
Don't
confusion
Breathe.
for a while.
Now,
there.
I want to see this movie and Green Room. Those are two movies that I actually want to see really badly.
Well, you say that because, again, I've been obsessively reading people's top 10 lists, and one top 10 list was all about grouping movies in double features. And they said their best double feature of the year was Don't Breathe and Green Room. They went together like peanut butter and jelly. So
nice. The only other one that I saw was The Shallows, which would probably fall in that category.
Yeah.
And
I heard that was good. I didn't see it.
That was good. It was good.
Well, don't calm down, Brian. I mean, that's...
Well, it's not in my top 10. Let's just put it that way. I enjoyed it. It was there. I watched it. But it was good.
Okay, well, there's part one of our best movies of 2016. The real good stuff comes out in part two. I know that you think we can't top that, but we can.
Well,
I promise. So, anyway, I hand it
really,
off to Bryce
I
to take us out.
really hope that we can top that now because... Anyways, this has been the Valhalla Filmcast. I am Bryce Thompson.
I am Brian Hammond.
And I'm Cody Rary.
And we'll talk to you next time.
The following views, opinions, and commentary are the sole property of the Valhalla Filmcast. Any unauthorized reproduction without prior consent is prohibited. Any incidental music, audio clips, or film trailers are used for the sole purpose of film criticism and commentary as allowed under the Fair Use Act.